Hi everyone, I'm Andy.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy and we're from Tales from the Heart.
Yes, thank you for joining us today for Hertford Castle Heritage Day, except not in its usual form, is it?
No, for one thing, we are in a garden with a fancy looking reenactment tent, not in the luscious grounds of Hertford Castle, unfortunately, for due to the pandemic we're still going through at the moment, Hertford Castle Heritage Day in its usual wonderful format cannot go ahead as it's just too unsafe for us all at the moment. So instead we are bringing all of the fun of the Heritage Day to you in your homes today.
So yes, we are in fact in my parents' back garden rather than the grounds of Hertford Castle today, but it will make do. As Amy mentioned, we have this lovely tent behind us as well and some of our usual kits. And we've got lots going on today. The last few weeks we've been catching up with some people that usually come down to the castle, exhibitors, reenactors, people like that who have been really helpful providing videos, interviews and little treats like that. As well as a few new faces as well that we hope you'll enjoy and maybe we'll see in the flesh at the castle next year. And first up today we have my friend Kale. Kale is from a company called Red Squirrel Ancestral Skills, and they do wonderful work doing foraging courses, Stone Age workshops, all sorts of wonderful things. I've worked with him for a little while now, and he kindly provided us with a look into friction firelighting the Stone Age way. And so that is the first video we have for you now. Enjoy. Hi everyone, I'm here with Kale from Red Squirrel Ancestral Skills, who's going to be demonstrating something for us today. What are you going to be demonstrating?
Today I'm going to be doing fire by friction with the bow drill method, and this is a Stone Age method of making fire with an authentic kit, and except for the straw, that's actually a kind of a Neolithic addition, but that will be fine.
It sounds like a lot of hard work. I will leave you to it.
Cheers. So yeah, the fire by friction method, you effectively want to generate lots and lots of heat through your spindle into the board, and it's going to make lots of warm dust effectively, and that's going to get really hot and eventually smoulder into an ember. And yeah, the way you do that, you have your spindle with your bow, and even this can take a bit of time to get used to. When I first started I was a bit unsure how it worked, but when you just have a bit of practice it becomes second nature. You want your string nice and firm, otherwise when you're bowing back and forth the string can slip and that just makes it really difficult. You can pinch your string and that kind of gets around that problem, but really if you have it tight it's just going to make life a lot easier. I'm using a bit of rawhide for my string. This is from a deer neck, a roe deer neck, and this has lasted for I think about a year now, so it's lasted really well. That lasts as long as paracord. And I normally have quite a neat little stone as my handle, but I've misplaced that today, and I found this stone. It's huge. I'd never use a stone that big, but it will work really well. So it does look a bit odd, but it will do the job. And then under my board I've just got a bit of bark. That's the ember pan. It's nothing special, it's just going to collect the ember, and then when I've made the ember I'm going to transport it into the bird's nest, and from there it'll be easy to ignite. So when you're doing the bow drill method it's important to start off slow. Lots of people really want to race into it and go straight for it, but it's a physical activity, and if you go for it straight away you're just wasting energy. You need to warm up the kit, you need to warm up yourself as well. It is physical, so yeah, it's really important just to start off slow, and you want to use as much as the bow as possible. That's going to make it a lot easier. So like I say, just starting off, make sure there's no grass or organic matter in it, that's just going to get in the way. Like I say, just starting off slow. When I kind of get the feel for it, And another thing, actually, you really want to have the correct position. My wrist is locked into my shin, and that just stops it from wobbling around. It makes it nice and secure. And you also want to lean over the spindle as well. This is how you get the downward pressure. If you hear a squeak, a really kind of mousy, horrible squeaking noise, that means you haven't got enough downward pressure. And the best way to come around that, instead of just really pushing down on your stone with all this power, if you just lean forward, it should take care of that problem. So all of that said, let's see how we get on. So like I said, I'm going to start off slow till it smokes. And you want to keep the bow parallel to the ground as well. That will keep the string nice and straight. And you just want to be steady. You want to keep the speed as it starts to smoke. And as the smoke starts to get a little bit thicker, that's when you can just increase the speed, increase the downward pressure, and full strokes with the bow. Then you can just increase the speed a bit more. And then you can stop. At this point, you can get your breath back as well. You've kind of done the hard bit. So, that's made a nice ember now. I can see it smoking from the dust. So I'm going to just remove that. And I've actually drilled all the way through. That's the last attempt on that socket. Time to make a new socket for the board. Fortunately, we've got a nice ember there. That's just going to grow stronger. That's relatively secure. I've left it before for 4 or 5 minutes, and that would just smoulder away quite happily. You can really gently give it a bit of oxygen with your hand, but it's delicate. You've got to be careful. Now I've got a bird's nest here. That's what we call this tinder. It's not a real bird's nest. I'd never ever do that. You want to buff up the bird's nest. Give it nice and fluffy. That just helps it on its way. And when the ember's smouldering nicely, that's when you can transfer it in. And from there, you could just add your wood and you're away. You've done the hard bit. And that's fire by friction. That's the bow drill method. I teach fire by friction. I teach it one-on-one. I teach it with groups as well. So if you'd like to find out more, I have a page called Red Squirrel Ancestral Skills on Facebook.
So that was fantastic. Thank you for doing that for us. So I have to ask, what caught your interest for the Stone Age in particular?
I just love how people were living with nature in the Stone Age and meeting their needs just through their local environments, and being hunter-gatherers. I think that really has appealed to me as well. Just
a lot to learn from today, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I've got to ask the kit. I mean, I'm positively modern compared to you at the moment.
Very
so
modern.
what's it made from? What's the leather from?
So these are actually from reindeer. I was lucky enough to go to Sweden a couple of years ago, and out there I learned how to tan reindeer hides, and it's willow bark tanned. And then the trousers are red deer tanned, and I did that coming back from Sweden.
Fantastic. Thank you very much for that. Yes, so if you want to check out more of the brilliant things Cale's doing, you can look him up on Facebook on Red Squirrel Ancestral Skills. Please check out all the cool stuff he does. Thank you very much, Cale.
Thank you.
Won't shake your hand, but thank you. So, thank you very much, Cale, for showing us that. Yeah, friction firelighting, it's a tricky one. I learnt it a while ago, and I'm a little bit out of practice now, being mostly in the Viking Age where we have flint and steel. But yeah, it's quite a knack to it. Have you ever done it before?
No, I haven't.
Oh, we'll give it a go at some point. It's you prefer your eras, getting on further, even don't you? Like even closer to now than I do.
In terms of lighting fires, definitely lighters and matches for the win.
Yeah, it makes the fire breathing stuff we do a lot easier, to be honest.
It really does. I definitely prefer that. I don't think I could handle trying to get a bow drill to work right before our fire breathing stories, really.
The good thing is, if you don't manage to get it lit, you're kind of warmed up anyway. You don't need the fire because you're pouring the sweat, We've where we actually filmed Kale just then. It was the Ancient Technology Centre in Dorset, where they have buildings from the Stone Age right up to the Viking era, and we'll be going back there later on. But for now, we are going from the realms of history into the realms of fantasy with a local author, aren't we?
Yes, Andy caught up with Claire this week, or C.L. Gristwood as she's known under her author's name. She's written an exciting set of fantasy books for young people called the Raystone Saga, and in this clip we've got for you, it's an exclusive preview into her next book. Hope you enjoy.
Hi everyone, I'm here with Claire Gristwood, who is a local author. Well, we've known each other for a while. But Several years. But shall we, for the benefit of the guys watching, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, as Andy says, my name is Claire. C.L. Gristwood is my pen name. I've been writing now for about 20 years, properly when I started my first novel, which we'll get to in a minute. But yeah, I've lived in Hertford most of my life, and locally. Can't see myself stopping at the moment.
Some of you might recognise Claire from the Hertford Heritage Day and some other local events as well, where she's brought along her books. She's been doing signings, and cuddly toys were a thing, weren't they?
For a while, yes.
Yeah. And yeah, they seem quite popular. I've seen people running off with their signed copies, which has been brilliant. It really adds to it, I feel. So you've written a few books, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got a selection here. I've written 5, but technically 6. One's not quite published yet. Put that there. But yeah, we've got a couple. This is a standalone, Daniel's Pet, which is sort of aimed at sort of the younger kids. A boy finds a fox cub, and he decides to make friends with it, and it's about their adventures together. Very popular with, as I say, the younger audience. These 3 are the ongoing saga, the Raystone Saga. Book 1, book 2, and book 3. This was the one I actually started writing when I was 15. It's gone through a lot of revamps because there's a lot of teenage angst in there in the original, which I actually found a copy of the other day. But yeah, Narnia-esque, Lord of the Rings, sort of a little bit of everything in there. It's the same group of characters, and the idea is you can see the size difference in the books. It's because the idea is the readers get older and grow up with the books. So we've got that one. The Darkest Day, which is another standalone sci-fi futuristic thriller, loosely based on the Fifth Element. So if you like all the, sort of kind of race against time, Zero to Hero, flying cars and all the rest of it. This was my favourite for a long time. I wrote this straight after the Raystone. I was about 17. Again, it's gone through a lot of revamps. And this one is a rough draft. This is Red, Dragon's Quest, which is about a little dragon. He just wants to find him. You probably can't, don't know if you can pick him up on the camera, but it's got illustrations that I did myself.
Oh.
They're not as great as the ones in Daniel's Pet by my friend. But yeah, we're redoing this one because some of the images are a bit blurry. Once we've got it all finalised and properly done, and the logo on the back's got to change and everything, we'll be ready to launch that hopefully next year.
Fantastic. I really like the idea of readers growing up with the books as the books get thicker and they become a little bit more sort of teenage, older teenage. That's a fantastic idea, and I do like the idea of a kind of kind of a cyberpunky sort of feel with Darkest Day. You know, that's introduce them young to cyberpunk. I feel is a good thing. So what made you realise that was the path you wanted to take as an author? What made you realise you wanted to become an author?
I don't know if it was a kind of a distinct moment. It was more. I mean, I've always written. I mean, when I was little and back at school, I would, sort of take exercise books out of the stock room, and sort of like squirrel them away. I was absolutely terrified I was going to be suspended for stealing these 25p, the really thin books with the really big lines. But I used to write in those from the age of about 5, 6, just my own short stories. And then when I got a computer, it was like, I can type them out, because my writing was absolutely appalling, handwriting. So I sort of moved into the book part, the computer side of it. But I think it was just as I got older and I'm always reading, and I read more, and I sort of, I'd love to do something like this. And then I thought, well, why don't I? I'd done like a couple of short stories that weren't really about anything, sort of specific. It was just kind of like, and then I just thought, well, I'm enjoying these. I'm going to try and get one published, which I did back in 2008. I think was the very first edition of the Raystone, and I just kind of went from there. I just, I sort of gave it to a couple of people, and they were like, "You going to write any more of these?" And I was like, "I'm thinking about it." And since then, since we started doing the events and the conventions and stuff, it's like people are coming back. People are buying. Is the next book out yet? I mean, that was the best moment of the life. It's like not quite yet. And I just thought, well, I'm just going to carry on doing. I enjoy it, and if other people are enjoying it, it's a win-win.
So that's fantastic. I remember at one of the Heritage Days a few years ago now, meeting a child that it was either Heritage Day or Celtic Harmony or something, an event there, that a child had come back having read the first one or two and was desperate to get the other one and wanted to get it signed for him. That sort of thing's heartwarming,
It was,
not only kids engaging with your work, but just kids getting that into reading and following a story.
Which is very difficult in this day and age.
Exactly, all the distractions about, but it's something I'm very thankful for is still prevalent,
Yeah.
I have a few other questions for you, but I do know that you've got a bit of a treat for our viewers and fans of what you've been doing.
Yeah, I do apologise. It's still in its pre-edit stages. But yeah, as I said, the Raystone saga is ongoing because I'm writing the fourth one, which is slated for release next year. I don't have a definite date yet, but I'm ploughing through it. I do have the prologue. It's only a couple of pages. I'm not going to bore you all. But it's the opening to the Raystone 4, Scroll of the Dead. And I really, really hope you guys enjoy it. The rhythm of hooves on the leafy ground echoed louder than thunder as a squadron of riders picked up speed. Their mounts carried men in metal armour, free of any sigils, only their eyes showing through slits in the helmets. They were focused on a black unicorn in front of them. It was a mare, and slighter than the ones behind it. She was quicker and more agile, but was beginning to lag in speed. She was exhausted. The hooded figure on her back urged her on, but they knew neither of them could outrun their pursuers. At length the figure leaned back, took aim, and a shower of energy bolts blasted, seeming to come from her hand with no weapon in sight. The riders in front dodged the attack, but their comrades behind did not see it coming and fell with painful yells tumbling across the leafy floor as the unicorns reared and whinnied in fright. The first three riders picked up speed as they saw what they were heading for. Their quarry had already reached it, an open cliffside. The black unicorn skidded to a halt, and within seconds the rider had dismounted, slapped the creature on the hindquarters, and it cantered off at speed. The three remaining riders slowed their pace as they approached the ledge, facing out to the open sea. Waves below smashed against jagged rocks. A fall here would mean certain death. The hooded figure stood motionless, their back to the ocean, facing the impending ironclad trio. "It's all over, half-breed," said the middle rider. "You've got nowhere left to go." The figure seemed to scan the area before throwing back their hood. Beneath scruffy, dark brown, almost black hair, hazel eyes narrowed as they flashed in anger. "You want to think very carefully about your next move," she growled. "I won't be held responsible if you have my fair warning." "Miss Iola," came a stern voice from the middle rider again. We are tired. This charade has gone on long enough. Give yourself up now and save us all more trouble. Iola only smirked. Really? So I give in. Then what? We'd let you go free, of course. The smirk became a sneer. And shoot an arrow in my back as I walk away? I don't think so. You are handling stolen goods. Stolen is a matter of perspective, she shot back. This belonged to our people for generations, long before men came into this world. Then your kind razed our towns and cities and villages to the ground. And in the name of what? Of who? A king in his mad quest for power. When he fell in battle, you stole the scroll and used it with dark magic to bring him back, cloned with a beast from the shadow world of all things. You unleashed that thing upon our world, and now you're trying to take it again? You'll have to pry it from my cold, dead hands. That can be arranged, came a younger voice from the figure to the left of the centre rider. There was a sound of steel being drawn, but he was stopped by the middle rider with a motion of his arm. Isla had already taken a step towards the cliffside. The wind picked up, whipping her shoulder-length hair across her face. From her robes, she had taken a small, battered-looking scroll, tightly bound by a deep red ribbon, and she held it out just behind her over the crashing waves hundreds of feet below. Just try it, she glowered. I'll let it go. I'll drop it. Maybe that'd be best after all. Life and death are powerful things, and no good can come of mixing the two when not needed. We do not seek it to, for any dark power it may possess, said the middle rider. We're on the same side, you and us. We can keep it safe. Safer than it be in some witch's cottage. You have no idea about our kind and what we do and what we're capable of. Her voice was steeped in hatred and disgust. We are nothing alike. We use magic because it flows through our veins. We were born with a gift that is honed from an early age. It wasn't our choice to bear the burden of magic, but we do what we can because we believe we should help others who do not. Men, elves, you tar us all with the same brush. And if my fate is sealed, I would rather seal it myself than let you do so for me. So saying, she took a final step towards the cliff edge and, still holding the scroll, opened her arms wide. The armoured figure went to dash at her, but the next second she had let herself fall backwards and disappeared over the edge. The three men urged their horses forward and peered over, expecting to see a mangled body on the rocks below. But instead, a huge winged figure soared upwards, high above their heads. Its long beak as black as the rest of its feathered body, and its eyes were as red as rubies. A cry emitted from the bird's throat before it turned and left, knowing full well now that there was no chance of being pursued. In one of the creature's huge clawed feet, it carried the scroll safely. The three riders could only watch, knowing full well that this bird was in fact Iola. She's heading west, said one of the younger accomplices. What are your orders, sir? The older figure was silent for a minute. We return to base, he said at last. Ready our messengers, man and beast, and send word. We'll be taking back what is ours one way or another. She may not realise it, but she has indeed just sealed her fate and the fate of every other half-breed. We wipe them out, all of them, every town, every village, every settlement. It's time for men to rise up above them once and for all. From this day forward, we take up arms with anyone who'll stand with us and kill every last one. This is the beginning of the end for all those with so-called magic in their veins.
Thank you very much for sharing that with us. That was an exclusive. It is an exclusive, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
there you go. Which I've always wanted to say that we've got an exclusive for you. So that's brilliant. And you say that's out next year?
Hopefully, yes.
I
I don't quite know what day, but what month. But I've sort of set myself a target, and I've got a bit of time on my hands to continue writing. So next year along with Dragon's Quest. So double whammy.
Fantastic. Well, sort of magic, shape-shifting, it's all stuff that I'm quite into, so it's as far as my reading goes, so I look forward to it. So for anyone at home who likes writing, enjoys writing and reading, and maybe pinches notebooks out of the stock cupboard, what advice would you give them to any young authors out there?
Number one, do not give up. If you've got an idea and you want to write it down, there's no such thing as everyone's got a story that they want to tell, and someone once said to me, if there's a book that you want that's not out yet, write it yourself, but don't give up. I mean, I've got a lot of I'm on a lot of Facebook and Twitter pages, and people go, oh, you know, I started writing this book and I've got a really good idea and now I just can't finish it. And it's like, no, you've got to, you know, whether it's writer's block, whether it's lack of ideas, you know, persist with it. And then when it's finished and, you know, you sort of think, I'm going to go onto the publishing path, again, you will get rejected. Unless you've got a ton of cash and you can sort of, you know, your dad's, you know, someone high up somewhere, you will probably get rejected many times. But don't give up, because if you believe in something, no matter what it is, someone else will. And I think it's getting, you know, sort of advertising, promoting. We're lucky enough to live in an age where we can reach 1,000 million people just with one press of a button on the internet. So promoting is very important as well. But yeah, don't give up. Promote. The year before, have a rough date in your head, and then just the year before, just plug it. Make sure that you don't get swindled by vanity publishers. They're out there, and I don't know why they've not been shut down yet. You know, you pay people a ton of money, and they say, oh yes, we'll publish your book, and you never see a penny return. So, I mean, I get a book yearly, the Writers and Artists Yearbook. I've just got all the legit publishers, agents. Build up a knowledge. If you want to make something a trade, you build up a knowledge of that trade and who to know and what to do and where to go.
That's brilliant. Thank you very much. We did talk at one point of having a bit of a collaboration between Tales from the Hart and yourself, didn't we?
You've got me on camera now. Oh no, evidence.
But yeah, at one point, you know, it'd be really great to work together on some of this. You know,
I would love that. I mean, at the moment, the current climate is making it a lot trickier for all of us. But I would like that.
But yeah, Amy and myself as well. If nothing else, maybe a dramatic reading with some fire breathing in the background for the dragons.
Yes.
There's some thoughts there. Thank you very much. I won't shake your hand, but.
Yeah, virtual shake.
Yeah, that's it. Thank you so much, Claire, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Really great to see you again, and it'll be really great once we can get back to the Heritage Day properly, and have you there with your stand and your books, and hopefully a new one or two as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Fantastic. It's I tell you what, as I mentioned there, it's really nice that to see young people engaging with the books that she does write. You know, that as I mentioned in the interview, I've seen children returning the following Heritage Day, clutching their books and wanting to get the next book, getting it signed, things like that. And I did press her, I don't know if you saw, I did press her about a collaboration with Tales from the Heart as well. So.
Oh yes, definitely. Yeah, we're definitely going to hold you to that, Claire.
So yes, that was Claire or C.L. Griswood. Got some exciting stuff coming up. Next up, going back to history now, one of the best things for me about the Heritage Day or any reenactment or show personally is the camp side of things. I mean, I love seeing the fighting, the falconry, all of that, but you know, sort of smelling and feeling and seeing all the entire setup there. I don't know about you, but it just sort of brings it to life, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And when you see the members of the reenactment group all dressed in their fabulously authentic kit, it really makes you feel part of that era of history. And they're always so friendly and eager to tell you all about their era that they're showing you in their encampment, which is really lovely to see. Something I really miss about Heritage Day and going to historical sites, to be honest.
Mm-hmm. Ringworm, the Viking reenactment group, are one of two groups that we've been having at Hertford Castle for Heritage Day recently, the other being Household de Cobham, who are a medieval group. But Ringworm, they have a big encampment, they've been coming for years now, and as I was saying, one of the best bits about them for me, and certainly I think for the public as well wandering around, is that encampment. And so we have a video for you taken last year of their camp set up to some great music as well provided by them, so enjoy.
lyssna ek nyheter. Namn ek upp rum. Löpande namn. Fäll ek attertala. Dagalt och hugalt skulle Jovans örn och vidjat vässa. Klaver och revor skulle kunna skära Hunds sin giverban. Hugen och munnen fjuga börjandar jormungrund tyvi. Håntäck och hugen hans all atter ner kommit. En sås ner på munnen.
And so yes, that was Ringworm Dark Age Reenactment Society. Again, as I said, they've been with us for a while at Hertford Castle. They always get a really good response, but especially the kiddie Vike, the kids battle.
Yeah, I wonder why. Pretty much one of the best things about reenactment groups and about Heritage Day in particular is the shiny pointy things that come out.
And I think from what I've seen, I mean, I've been working in historical education, and we both have for, don't want to say too long, that sounds kind of negative, but a long time.
It's been a while.
And, you know, we love it, and I think one of the best bits about it is, like with the kids battle, everything like that, it's getting people, especially young people, involved, seeing them learn through doing, isn't it? And
yeah, definitely. The best way to learn about history is to take part, join in, and have a go at some of these crafts and these activities yourself, because that way you actually get an idea of what it was like to live in that time. So with that in mind, we have something for you to do at home. We have a clip for you now that shows you how to make your very own honey butter from the comfort of your own home. Yeah, hope you enjoy.
hi everyone, I'm here in this Viking longhouse to show you a bit of historical food prep. We are going to be making a Viking treat. What are we making, guys?
Honey butter. Honey butter.
Honey butter. So yes, honey butter, it's something very sweet. It's something that you probably have as a bit of a treat back then. And it's a great thing for you to try at home. It goes well on biscuits, on bread, on oat cakes, lots of different things. If you do try and make this at home, if you do make some of it, post up, tell us what you think, send us a picture, whatever you like. But for the moment, we're going to show you with these guys' help how to make it. I'm here with Evie, with Arthur and with Oscar, and they are going to be demonstrating this. So first of all, what we need is some double cream. Just some double cream in a bowl and a spoon. You can also mix this in with your fingers, but that might not be something you want to do if you're sharing it out. And all you do to begin with is you stir. Can I get you all stirring just like that? This can get messy, so you've got to stir carefully. And you're going to stir, and you're going to stir. And then it's going to get thicker. What do you think you do then? Do you want a clue? You continue to stir. And then it will get thicker and thicker and it will turn to be what will look like whipped cream. And what do you think you do then?
Stop stirring.
No,
Keep on stirring.
keep on stirring. And then it's going to start turning into lumpy sort of, it will start looking like butter, and that is when we're going to add the honey. But for the moment, you guys have got some work to do, so I'm going to leave them to it. Do you think you could do this every time you wanted a bit of toast in the morning?
No.
Every time you wanted to cook in some butter or anything like that?
Oh no.
It's a bit easier nowadays, isn't it? So is it still like it was, or is it thickened?
It's gotten a little thicker. Mine's got way thicker.
Ah, so it has, so it has.
Now she's got a bigger spoon.
So we've advanced with our butter making. Would you guys like to show what we've done so far? Lift your spoons up so you can see what we've got in there. So it's looking a lot more like whipped cream there, isn't it? And you are pretty much there. So keep going, and I think in about 30 seconds to a minute, you're going to have the beginnings of butter there. So Evie has got to the stage where it started looking like a scrambled egg. Now, in fact, in Evie's, I don't know if you can see, but at the bottom there is some liquid gathering. That is buttermilk, and that's really good in itself for baking, for putting into bread, or for drinking as well. It was quite a popular drink with children back then. So we're nearly there. I know it's been a long slog, hasn't it? Keep going, we're nearly there. I've got some honey that we're going to add once that starts thickening up again, okay? And you are nearly there as well, and so is Oscar. Well done. Crack on, guys, almost there. So we're pretty much there, as I was saying. Arthur's here. If you want to tilt that forward, Arthur, just to show. We're at that sort of lumpy. You can see it's yellowed now. It's gone from that creamy colour to that yellow buttery colour.
I'm getting a little bit of that butter juice thing.
The butter juice. Yes, buttermilk. Fantastic. And this one that Evie's done, you can see it gathering at the bottom. So what I'm going to do with Evie's one in a moment is I'm going to pour out the butter milk and put that aside in a cup, and then we're going to add some honey to yours, and I'm going to add some honey to yours. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Right. That's it. There's that buttermilk there. We'll get a bit more out of that as well. Right, there is some honey for you. Put a nice bit in there. And what I want you to do is just to mix that in as well, okay? Thank you. Thank you. Right, what we're going to do now, I'm going to get that on some butter pats. So what I want you to do, these are butter pats. You can use your hands as well at home. Put that on there for me. That's it. Nice goopy mess. There you go. And the other bit as well.
Can't mix.
Okay, no, you're pretty much there. That's it. That's it. That's lovely. What we do then is we squeeze it together, and you'll see some of that buttermilk come out again. Then you can put that there, squeeze it some more. Nearly done, guys.
Next, you got me.
Lovely stuff. And what you can do, you can leave it nice and soft, or you can put it in the fridge to harden as well.
It's all snagging.
It is. So we have our honey butter ready. That's going to go on there. You ready? Whoop, get on there. There's a lot of honey butter. Wait for it. Wait for it. we'll all go together.
Yummy, yummy.
There you go. So that's it. You ready? Go for it. Tell me what you think. You good?
I think we should have some plain honey butter.
What, just honey butter by itself without the biscuit?
Mm-hmm.
He's going straight in for it again. Right, I think I've lost the honey butter. So you fans, yeah? You like it? Good enough for toast in the morning? Shall we try that buttermilk. So now we've approved of the honey butter, we're going for the buttermilk test. So thumbs up, tell us what you think. It's quite sweet, isn't it? It just tastes like milk, there you go.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. Thank Evie, Arthur and Oscar for making this lovely honey butter. I'm glad you've enjoyed it, and until next time, see you later guys, give them a wave. Bye bye.
Thanks very much, Andy, for that great video about how to make your own honey butter. It did look really tasty.
The kids, the kids enjoyed it, as you saw. They I think it was Oscar was just kept going for it, really.
Another great part of Heritage Day that looks fantastic as part of our live shows is the falconry display that we have, because it means you actually get to see birds of prey up close, as well as seeing what they can do in the air. And we've got a video from Coda Falconry, haven't we?
So yes, Coda Falconry, who do such wonderful displays when they come along, and they've been coming since I've been involved, I think. They were kind enough to send us along a brilliant video of everything they do and why they do it, and it's fantastic. So please enjoy.
What is falconry? It's a sport stretching back over 5,000 years. And not a lot has changed over all this time. We still use similar falconry furniture on the birds, things like jesses and hoods. Back in the day, these would all be made strictly from leather, as that was the toughest material of the time. Now, as technology has moved on, we're modernising falconry slightly. In captivity, we provide food, shelter, safety, enrichment, and a life that is free from pain. Everything about falconry is about replicating wild behaviour. There's more to falconry than just flying birds free. We teach them how to hunt from a very young age, and we care for them in all aspects of their being. We have to trim their beaks, and this is called coping. They have such a high quality diet in captivity that they wouldn't have if they were in the wild, and that means that their talons and their beaks can get overgrown. It's essential as a falconer to make sure that your bird is in optimum physical and mental condition, and part of that is to reshape any overgrown parts of the bird so that they can live a very healthy and natural life. Everything about falconry is about replicating wild behaviour in our captive birds. We do this in many ways, like swinging a lure. This is just a piece of leather on the end of a bit of string, and it's got their tasty food tied to the leather pouch. Flying a bird free is all about weight management, a strong bond between the bird and its handler, and above all, trust. This is the final part of the bird of prey's training, and the bird has got to want to return to you. They are more than just birds to a falconer. They are family, and we are their guardians. In today's fast-paced, IT-led times, ancient sports like falconry become essential. They remind us of our link to the natural world and where we sit within our environment. Now remember, there's no reason for a bird of prey to return to the falconer unless they want to. They are ambassadors for their wild cousins who don't have these luxuries and who have to fight for survival each and every day. Despite falconry being one of the world's oldest sports, we are still learning from it in this modern age. Through captive breeding, we can save many species of birds of prey across the globe who are struggling to survive due to perhaps climate change, loss of habitat, or illegal hunting by humans. Falconry truly allows us to understand the scientific makeup and needs of raptors so that we can treat injured wild birds and help them to get back on the wing. By understanding bird of prey behaviour and management, we can inspire younger generations to admire birds of prey and to create a better future for them, one that allows humans and birds of prey to coexist within a shared natural world. Falconry truly allows the bird to be free and to live its best life.
Thank you very much again to Coda Falconry for sharing that video with us. And yeah, they do a fantastic job flying those birds on display, caring for them. The courses they run, the demonstrations, really great stuff. And they've been working with us, as I said, for quite a while. I mean, I've done a little bit of falconry. You have? You looked after a raven?
Yes, I had to babysit a raven for a couple of weeks. He was called Merlin. I had to feed him every day. And I believe there was a festival quite a few years ago where I actually had a raven on my shoulder, which was awesome. They're really intelligent, clever birds.
That was Coda Falconry's raven, I believe, wasn't
Was
it?
it?
Loki, yeah.
It probably was, yeah.
So yeah, as I said, we've been working with them for a long time, and they're over at Lee Valley Park, and you know they put on some fantastic events there, fantastic courses. So please do check them out, and we'll sort the link below as well for their website. So along the animal theme, I've noticed that these sort of shows, Hertford Castle being no different, that animals, they're kind of the stars of it really. I mean, you'll get people flocking around, you know, people in armour with a sword, things like that, but when you get animals involved, people just rush to those. And the birds that Coda Falconry have aren't the only animals that we have there, because a friend of ours, Vicky, brings her husky team along. Now, some of you may know Vicky usually uses this tent to shelter her dogs in, and she's often there with about 4 or 5 of them, part of her husky mushing team. And earlier this week I caught up with Vicky to talk to her about her dogs, about their care, and the races that she does as well. So enjoy. Hi everyone, so I'm here with my friend Vicky, and yes, I'll let you introduce yourself and yeah, what we're going to be talking about today. So.
Okay, hi, as Andy said, I'm Vicky, and my main hobby is my Siberian Huskies, which you can probably see a few around here at the moment. I am actually a hobby musher, which means that I actually drive a sled dog team, and we actually get into competitions all around the UK with teams of dogs. So yeah.
You know, I mean, part of having you here was just an excuse for me to come play with Huskies, I won't lie. But Vicky is actually a regular at Hertford Heritage Day as well, aren't you?
Yeah. So a few people may actually recognise some of the Huskies that are in shot at the moment, especially little Flash here. He's been there a couple of times.
Yeah, I've always said that I think, you know, whether it's the stories I tell or the archery or the combat, I think yours is possibly one of the most popular stalls when they're there. As soon as the Huskies are out, everyone floods to them, you know?
Yeah, no, it seems to be. One of the things that does make me laugh is the amount of children that tend to get sort of dumped at our stall while the parents go round, and then then they come back a bit later and pick up the kids who are still enthralled by having husky cuddles. So yeah.
So, what made you get into mushing? I mean, it's quite niche, you know, and this coming from someone that does reenacting and archery as a hobby, you know, it's quite a niche hobby. What brought you to it?
To be honest, I always used to mountain bike. So when I've always had a passion for huskies anyway. Growing up, my favourite films were Iron Will and White Fang and everything like that. And when I finally bit the bullet and actually took on a rescued Siberian Husky mix, I used to attach her to the front of my mountain bike. And I didn't even realise that was bike jawing at the time. And then I started to get in touch with other people who had Huskies, started to learn about different vehicles essentially that you can use, so scooters, bikes, rigs. Rigs are like a 3-wheeled trike. I mean, you've seen me on my rig anyway, yeah. as soon as I had one husky, it was like it wasn't enough. I took on another one, and then eventually we moved up and I got a 3-wheeled racing rig, and then of course I'm now running between 5 and 6 dog teams, so sort of grew from there really.
And I mean, having been on just the passenger rig with you before, you know, you get up some speeds, don't you?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think our top speed, depending on the trail, because it always depends on the surface. If it's grassy surface or sandy or anything like that, obviously the dog's going to go slower. But on sort of a gravel type hard pack sort of surface, we can reach speeds of sort of 26, 27 miles per hour. Then their average speed tends to be around about 14 or so miles per hour over sort of 4 miles.
Yeah.
So but it all depends on the surface really.
I remember it feeling very fast when I was quite low to the ground on that rig, actually.
I think it's more the feel about being out of control and the dog's taking it.
So you mentioned bike touring. I know you've been doing a fair bit of that over lockdown, haven't you? Sort of.
Yeah, a little bit. Did a little bit of bike jaw, and then I've got a scooter as well that I use. Bike drawing is the most easy thing to get into, because obviously anyone has a mountain bike. The downside to it, of course, is it's the learning. So it's knowing what trails you can use. The surfaces, running on tarmac is a big no-no, because it just affects the dog's joints and it can rip their pads and damage their claws and things like that. But yeah, it's just all a bit of a learning curve really with some of the other bits. But bike drawing's the most easy thing I think that people can get into if they want to run their dog.
Yeah, it's one of the main reasons I remember inviting you to Heritage Day in the first place, and apart from the fact that I knew everyone had loved the Huskies, I think that was never in doubt, and you've done a fair few shows relating to that. One of the reasons we got you involved with Heritage Day, apart from the fact that everyone likes Huskies and we knew it would be a hit, was that there is a lot of heritage behind mushing, isn't there?
There is, yeah. I mean, it is the oldest form of transportation. Dog sledding was obviously not in this country, but dog sledding was originally in sort of the Arctic conditions and things like that. Yeah, the main reason why there are so many Siberian Huskies around at the moment is probably because of the 1925 serum run in Alaska, where Leonard Seppler was the main race kennel back then, and he actually provided quite a lot of the dogs that ran in the relay team to relay the medicine back to Nome in Alaska to actually save the town of Nome from the diphtheria epidemic.
That's recreated that run, isn't it, today?
It is, yeah. The Iditarod actually has recreated that run, although they have increased the distance.
Oh really? So it's a bigger run than the original serum run now.
That is, yeah. The actual serum run that the mushers did was just over 600 miles from Nanana to Nome, but the actual medication was delivered to Anchorage originally. So the actual Iditarod race is from Anchorage to Nome, which is, depending on the route, is roughly about 1,100 miles.
Wow.
And that takes place every year.
It's, I act like I knew what the Iditarod was before, but Vicky absolutely taught me that. That's fantastic. And another one, I think we might have discussed this before, Scott in the Antarctic, one of his sled dogs was named Benjo.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Benjo School, I believe, Benjo Primary School, or the school that it was back then, raised money for the expedition.
Yeah.
So, I remember that being quite interesting, finding that out. So you've got a video for us, I believe, as well.
I have, yeah. I mean, I do. When I'm out racing and training my dogs, I do wear a GoPro. So there is, I have actually provided you guys with one of my videos. So you can actually see what it's like firsthand behind a team of dogs. So yeah.
Fantastic. We'll play that now.
Yeah.
So thank you very much for sharing that.
That's all right.
I miss it. I've only tried it a few times, but I want to do it again.
Oh no, you're more than welcome.
We're full of. We've got dogs everywhere now. We've got some of the lead dogs are here actually, aren't they?
They are, yeah. I mean, this is Scardy. Scardy isn't actually a leader. She's actually retired. She was found as a stray, so we can't even be too sure if she's full Siberian Husky. Scardy, mind out the way, sweetie. Raven, who's actually climbing up on you at the moment, she's my main she's my main lead girl. And then the other one is little Harley down here, who is the dot of our litter. She was she's absolutely tiny compared to some of the others. But Raven is definitely in charge of the directions. Yes, Tarek. She's definitely in charge of the directions. She's really, really good on her turns and things like that. Harley is actually the one that goes next to Raven because Harley stops Raven from becoming distracted.
Oh.
So Harley's our little bullet who will just continue to run, doesn't care which way she's going, she will just continue to run. So she's actually really good, and she's also quite good on the directions herself. So as you know anyway, when I do race the dogs or run the dogs in training, we don't use reins like you do with horses. There's no way to steer the dogs. We certainly don't use anything like whips or that. Everything is positive reinforcement, and the dogs basically just know the directions from commands.
Yeah.
We use a couple of different directions. So we use G, which means to turn right. Hort means to turn left. Some mushes still use left and right. I know a few friends of mine that still use left and right. But we then say easy to try and slow the team down. That's the most difficult one. Easy.
Yeah.
Because these guys don't want to slow down. And when you see something running off up ahead, a training run that I did this morning, we actually saw 3 deer on the trail, full-size roe deer. And one of them was pure white as well,
Really?
which is absolutely
Wow.
stunning to see on the trail. But of course, the dogs saw them as well. So the second the dogs see anything like that on the trail, they just want to go and get it.
They've got very high prey drives, haven't they?
They have, yeah, which don't make them ideal pets or anything like that. Anyway, so of course they do pick up the pace, and a lot of the time, if you do want to slow them down, you shout easy. Doesn't always work, but they are very, very good on that. They're taking their turns and things like that. And then I also use on by or straight if I want them to carry on going or ignore a distraction as well.
I think I remember some of that. I remember some of it. So a lot of work goes into they're not, as you said before, they're not the easiest pets to start with, especially if you've got more than one. It's
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, with Siberian Huskies, you kind of have to have more than one anyway, because they're very much a pack animal. They're a lot more pack orientated than other dogs. Not to say that they're like a pack of wolves or anything like that when they get together. They're very, very affectionate dogs. Absolutely lovely with people. From a racing perspective, they've always had to be affectionate towards people because strangers handle them. They would when they were first bred, they would be lent to different mushers and things like that as well. So they have to get on with everybody. The downside with them, like you said before, is their prey drive. It's a very bad idea to keep them with cats, with rabbits, any other small furries. Because of their prey drive, you can't let them off lead. They can be trained on recall, but the problem is that if they see anything, smell anything, or even if they just decide one day they're going to go, they're going to go. And unfortunately, if they end up in farmers' fields, they will, there's a big chance they will try and attack livestock. They're also escape artists, hence this behind here. It looks awful, this fence, but the problem is, as you can probably see some of the patchwork down here, they do chew wooden panels and things like that, so I put this up just to try and protect this part of the fence. Obviously they're not left alone out here anyway, but it's just a bit of peace of mind for me. One of my older dogs, even at 12 years old, he could actually leap a 6-foot fence.
Wow.
So yeah, they can be a handful.
And in terms of diet, what do these guys get fed?
Well, I actually give them a tiny bit of kibble in the morning. I mainly keep them on a little bit of kibble just because when we go away for race weekends and things like that, it's actually the easiest thing to feed them. for part of the day, but they are mainly on raw. So they get a combination of complete minces, so beef and tripe. They also get duck minces. They get fed raw bones as well, which are things like duck necks, chicken wings, things like that. Nothing huge. I don't feed load-bearing bones or anything like that. But they get that, and then they get the odd vegetables, carrots, things like that. They also get fish. We also give a supplement which is something called golden paste, which is fantastic for the joints. The one I actually use is canine gold, which is fantastic because it actually has aloe vera added into the golden paste as well, which of course is brilliant for the digestion. So that's really good, and it's actually meant that a few of mine, Terrick, who you can probably hear whining and wandering around a bit, Terrick, see if he'll come over. No. See, typical husky. This is why they don't make good
near
pets.
the microphone.
But I've actually still got a couple of mine that run even at the ages of 12, 13.
Wow.
Terrick's actually nearly 15. He's going to be 15 in a couple of months, and he'll actually still come out and jog with me and things like that.
I mean, dog years, that's older than I am in human years, and I don't run anymore, you know. No, that's impressive. That's really impressive. And they enjoy the running as well, don't they? They do seem to really enjoy it.
Yeah.
Sort of hearing them before they run, and then when they start running, it's just sort of dead quiet after that, isn't it?
Yeah, they absolutely love it.
Well, I think that's about all we've got time for today. Thank you so much for inviting us round. To be hanging out with yourself, the Huskies, it's been brilliant. Pleasure as always to see you.
Fantastic, thank you so much.
And really looking forward to seeing you again at Heritage Day next year, and hopefully before that to do some mushing, actually.
Yeah, no, you're always welcome.
Really appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It was really good seeing Vicky and the dogs again. I like to think they remembered me. I've actually, as I mentioned on the video, I used to go mushing with them a fair bit. Amy came along later after we'd finished filming, and they seemed quite pleased to see you. You were sort of just swamped with. Amy's not the tallest person, you see, so you kind of couldn't see her for dogs.
It was the best welcome I think I've ever had. They were so cute and they were so lovely. Not such soft fur.
So yes, and I know Vicky's looking forward to coming down to Heritage Day next year and bringing the dogs along and giving you all a chance to meet them and give them a stroke and a cuddle. Mm-hmm. So we are really looking forward to next year's Heritage Day. And part of that for me is Hertford Castle's got to be one of my favourite buildings, if not my favourite in Hertford. You know, it's got such a rich history, hasn't it?
Yeah, it does. On Hertford Castle Heritage Day, normally the place is open for you to take a look at the dungeons and the robing room, but sadly it's closed to visitors at the moment. So we're hoping we can give you the next best thing. Tales from the Hart, Andy and I went round Hertford Castle, and we are going to give you a tour of the walls and the building, a little tour through time into Hertford Castle's history. Enjoy.
So, we're here at Hertford Castle, where normally around this time today, it would all be going on. And one of the coolest things about this place for me is when we're doing the event here, when we have the reenactors, the falconry, the archery, everything else going on, is the fact the whole thing is in a castle. Wouldn't you agree?
Oh, absolutely. When you're here surrounded by everything, normally you can just really feel the history, and it's magical to be around, and it feels very quiet today. So we're hoping that we can take you on a journey through time today, going back through the ages to the history of Hertford Castle.
Now, Hertford Castle first became a fortification in the time of King Edward the Elder, the son of Alfred the Great. It was a burh. Now, a burh was a fortified town, essentially. And there were two in Hertford, one either side of the river. It was a very important place. It was a crossing point on the River Lee. And the River Lee itself was the border between what we call the Danelaw, which was the area owned by the Vikings, and the Saxon kingdoms of Wessex and Mercia. But it was not until the Normans came in 1066 that it truly became a castle, and it became the Motte and Bailey, the mound just over there that many of you have seen before, I'm sure. And that would have had a small wooden keep on top that housed a few knights, a few men-at-arms to keep an eye on the local populace and make sure they don't rebel. But it was some time after that that these walls came up in the reign of a man named Henry II. Now Henry II saw the strategic value of Hertford, and it was quite a desirable place to live as well, so the walls went up and a royal palace was built inside. Now King Henry can't have known just how soon these walls would have been tested. For after his death, his son King Richard the Lionheart took over the throne, and then when he was killed in France, Prince John, now King John, yes that John, from the Robin Hood stories. And King John brought with him a lot of trouble, especially with the barons of England. For he had a habit of grabbing land that did not belong to him. And one patch of land was a castle in Hertford, belonging to someone by right by the name of Robert Fitzwalter. Now Robert Fitzwalter didn't inherit the castle directly, but he was owed it through his wife, through marriage. But John did not see it that way. He appointed his own governor and he took the castle for himself. Now this led to Fitzwalter becoming quite disillusioned with the king. He even went into exile for a while, but when he came back the king would still not relent, and so rebellion fermented. The Barons' War, the First Barons' War, came about. The marshal of the rebel army was none other than Fitzwalter himself. And due to that fight, that war, that campaign, a document that we know well came about, Magna Carta. But, as you may well know, King John did not honour Magna Carta. He did not see it as worth the parchment it was put down upon. And so a year later, war was here again. An enemy army, for the first time since 1066, landed on England's shores. The King of France sent his son, the Dauphin of France, Louis, to come and take the throne. He had been offered it by those rebel barons. And on his road to conquest lay Hertford Castle. So began the siege. Louis arrived with his army on the 11th of November, 1216. He camped just outside the walls, beyond what is now the ice garden, which is the only remaining part of the moat. Now, stretched all along the way would have been tents, men, horses, campfires and siege engines. And we know he brought siege engines because of writings of chroniclers at the time. He was camped here for 3 weeks. He wrote letters from here, which are now in the British Library. Commanding the garrison of Hertford Castle was a veteran of the wars in France, a man named Walter de Godeville. And he held the walls firm. This was no bloodless siege. Time and time again, the siege engines let loose volleys against the walls. Time and time again, men tried to scale the walls. Each time they were pushed back. The chroniclers write of the dead piled at the foot of the walls. After 3 weeks, the situation was dire, and the castle finally surrendered. Now in surrendering, they had not forfeited their lives, not even their weapons and horses. Such a good defence had they put up. It was part of the deal made that they would walk away with all of those, their heads held high. Louis took the castle. Before he left to continue his conquest of the castles and forts around London, our old friend Fitzwalter, Robert Fitzwalter, who was now marching with Louis, asked for the castle, saying by rights it should be his. And again he was denied, this time by Louis, who said that any Englishman that turned against his king should not deserve such a royal prize. Louis then marched on Berkhamsted Castle, which fell after a 2-week siege. But by the end of 1217, the tables had turned. The French had been routed at the Battle of Lincoln, and many of those rebel barons had rejoined their new king, the infant Henry III, and his advisors. They were pushed out of England, and Hertford once more returned to English hands. Now, I often think of what it would have been like during a siege. You know, I spent so long here at Rock at the Castle, walking around, making these videos, doing these shows. To think that people were huddled in here, not knowing what tomorrow would bring with those siege engines outside, it must have felt like a prison. And ironically, when peace came, about 100 years or so down the line, a prison is what Hertford Castle became.
Indeed, Hertford became a royal prison, no less. It housed royalty such as Isabella, the she-wolf of France, King David of Scotland, and John of France, both captured in battle. It wasn't just a prison for royalty, though. Hertford Castle was the original jail for Hertford, and we think that the jail used to be underneath the gatehouse, just behind us here. And this gatehouse prison also housed some prisoners of the lower classes as well. So in 1381 you had the Peasants' Revolt, and Wat Tyler was captured with that. And this inspired revolt elsewhere. The people of St Albans decided to rise up against their monastery, for the abbot had taken away their town's charters and their millstones, demanding that instead they grind grain at the abbot's mill instead. They didn't like this, and so the people decided that they would take their millstones and their charters back. Rebels led by John Grindcob broke into the monastery and threatening to burn it and the mill to the ground, demanding that they took their charters back. They even took up the old millstones that had been used to floor the abbot's house. They took them back, and with that, with a writ from the king, they got their town charters back. And they still fought back against the monastery until the ringleaders were caught, and John Grindcob was drawn and hung at St Albans. But he had been imprisoned here at Hertford Castle with 15 others.
So this gatehouse behind us, Amy, this isn't nearly as old as the castle, the walls that we've been looking at so far, is it?
No, it's not actually. This part of the building behind us, the gatehouse, this was actually built in the early 15th century, and then if you look over that way, that wall was part of the Tudor expansion, so it would have been designed and built upon by Henry VIII and others further down the line.
And if I'm right in thinking, this was actually home to a few of those royals, wasn't it? We shouldn't say too much, though, should we?
No, that is very true, because we actually talk about this a lot, Andy and I, on our Tales from the Heart story walks. And if you haven't seen already, we are currently running our heritage story walks. We've got 2 more evenings to go. So the 21st and 22nd at 6 o'clock. If you book your tickets ahead with the tourist information, you can hear all about the history of Hertford Castle. We go into a little bit more detail about some of the exciting inhabitants of this place, because quite a few interesting characters lived here that you may not have heard about before. So if you can, I really recommend you check it out.
It'll be great to see you there. We love talking about it. Thank you very much for joining us on this quite brief tour, but hopefully interesting tour of Hertford Castle. And lastly, what gets me is the fact that this building, which is so tied up in this town that I've grown up in, it's still the council offices to this day. It's still used for the governance of Hertford to this day. So I think that's pretty special as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's amazing to think that literally on our doorstep is this really rich building with such amazing history to it, and it makes me proud to be from Hertford, actually. So.
Well, thank you very much for joining us, and we hope to see you soon.
Absolutely. Take care, all. Bye.
Well, it was good getting back to the castle, actually, wasn't it? It was. Yeah, it's been a while since I've been there, and unfortunately, a lot emptier than we used to things on this sort of time of year, really, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. It definitely felt lonelier up there.
But yes, we hope you enjoyed it, and you can get some fantastic tours there as well. I know the Friends of Hertford Castle have given tours around there, both inside and out before.
Yeah.
But yes, so. We are going further back into the historical things now, back to Viking. So earlier we talked about historical education and using sort of Viking daily life, the reenactment camps, things like that, to really bring it to life, to teach people. And something we do a lot of is work with riddles and stories. And Amy here has a riddle for you, written in the Viking and Saxon style.
Indeed I do. And our first riddle for you goes like this. From a great tree I am cut, a warrior's best friend I become. Always I stand guard for him, cut time and again in his defence. When I can be cut no more, the only thanks I get is to be thrown upon the fire. What am I?
So thank you for that, Amy. Yes, those sort of riddles, the what am I, what is my name, those sort of riddles you find quite a lot. The original ones that we based a lot of these ones that we take into schools on come from a book called the Exeter Book, an old book written in Old English. Now, if you think you've got the answer to that riddle, leave it in the comments below. Let us know what you think, and we'll be along later on today to give the answers out. But yeah, if you think you know what that riddle might be, leave the comment in the leave the answer in the comments even. And there'll be a few more coming up as well, won't there?
Yes, there will.
And along the lines of Vikings, some other Viking friends of ours that haven't been to the castle yet, but hope to get along next year, called Ulf Ragnarson Herd. They are... Did I say that right?
I hope so.
I hope so. Ulf Ragnarson Herd. They are a group based in Kent, and they portray the Eastern Vikings. And they sent us a few videos of them having a bit of fun and training, keeping themselves sharp during lockdown. So here we go.
This is our mighty Slavic warrior, Svetogor. Turn around. He has a saber, which is fast and efficient for cutting off ears. Has a shield, of course. Has a proper face covering for coronavirus time. And has a proper head covering in case of another comet or asteroids heading towards Earth.
Well, thank you very much to the guys at Ulf Ragnarsson here for sending that video along. As I said, they're hoping to get along to Hertford Castle at some point, and it'd be great to see them. They've got some different styles of fighting than the other Vikings, and it's great seeing the kit and the styles of fighting, the two different sort of branches, Eastern and Western. I could go on about that for a long time, but I won't. But yeah, real good fun, and they're a fantastic group, very knowledgeable as well. Now, we hope you enjoyed that Viking riddle. So we have another one for you. We've got 3 today, so we're going to give you another one now, and another one a little bit later on. So, Amy, you have the second one.
Indeed. I am born to battle, locked between 2 great beasts in combat. Once they're done with me, I am dropped to the ground. My life has only just begun, though, when another picks me up. I am used to summon warriors or to reward them with drink. Guess my name.
And again, as with the last one, if you know what that is, or you think you know, leave your answer in the comments and we'll give you the answer later on. Now, speaking of battle and weapons, we're going to go along that theme for something that's quite popular on the open days, and it's what I actually started off being involved with at Hertford Castle, which is the archery. Now, we get to meet loads of you on the archery Have a Go stand on Heritage Day. It's always great fun seeing people shoot. We've got different targets out there. We've got the archery club. We get loads of interest for people wanting to join. I will drag you along at some point to the archery club, Amy. You need to get into it.
One day I'll get there. Get my inner Merida out.
That's it. So I actually have been a member of the archery club in question since it began, really. And yes, I actually managed to have a catch up with them and their training officer, Lex. And so we're going to go over to the archery club now and have a look at what they're doing and learn a little bit about field archery. Hi everyone, I'm here at Hart's Field Archers, a club just outside of Hertford. You might recognise them from the Have a Go archery sessions that are run at Hertford Castle's Heritage Day. Usually they've got a few of these wonderful targets out, and yeah, they're pretty busy through most of the day. It does seem quite popular. Now with me I have Lex, who's very kindly agreed to speak to me for this video. Lex here is one of the instructors with Hart's Field Archers. So first of all, tell us a little bit about field archery.
So field archery differs from target archery in so much as you're not stood at a line shooting repetitively at a target, round boss. You're walking through the woods normally, shooting at different targets at different distances, and the targets could be 2D, 3D like these, or yeah, and these 3Ds come in a variety of different.
Yeah, I've seen raptors, I've seen pumas and tigers, I've seen Roman soldiers, Tartar soldiers, all sorts of things, monsters, zombies. There was a zombie shoot, wasn't there? Yeah. So yeah, there's a fantastic range of targets you can shoot at, isn't there? And instead of line, it's from pegs, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
So you shoot from a red peg. If you miss, you go to the white, then to the blue.
Yeah, we're quite lucky here to have anything up to 40 targets out at a time. So yeah, really sort of lucky for that, really. So
fantastic. It is a wonderful place to shoot. So we've been shooting a few different types of bows here as well. You get all different types of archers here. Now I've been shooting today this, it's a primitive bow, based on a primitive bow. It's quite small, it's wooden, I'll say wooden. It's got a bamboo back here and a few different laminates of wood on the belly. You're shooting something quite different, aren't you, Lex?
Yeah, so also laminated, wood core, and fiberglass either side of the limbs. It's a takedown recurve, so you can take it apart, sleep in the back of your car, get scratched up nicely. But yeah, you can. It just goes a lot quicker. The arrow leaves the string a lot quicker.
It does. Personally, I think there's something to be said for tradition, but that is definitely a lot faster than my bow. So yes, and talking about traditions and things like that. I said we try and tie in history, but talking of history, how long have you been shooting for? Because Lex here was actually one of my first students when I became an archery instructor. So that was how long ago?
10, 12 years ago, something like that.
12 years, and I think 10 years ago you became a coach, wasn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
Time flies. Talking about being an archery instructor and teaching, you've got some courses coming up soon, I believe.
So autumn courses coming up soon. And hopefully, all being well, we'll be doing the spring course next year, and then back to normal 2 courses a year after that. Where you can come along from a beginner right through to club level.
Fantastic. I mean, it's always been a great sport, I think, for all ages, all people, because it can be very competitive or not competitive at all. I try not to be competitive, but then you get a good few rounds in and you start winning. You start winning and you get very competitive. That's me anyway. But it's really good sport for beginners to get into. And say a beginner tried it at Hertford Heritage Day, they want to come along to try some more. What would the course entail?
Yeah, so start you off a few safety points and then get you shooting within sort of 10-15 minutes. And then just getting proficiency going, and then doing a couple of rounds around the course, and then again maybe another week you do another sort of course, work on style, and just progress you through until you can shoot proficiently with the club.
Fantastic. And yeah, so it's always a joy to run courses. It's always a joy to teach new people, to share that passion for the sport. It's one of the reasons we do love coming down to the Heritage Day. So many people come along. We get so many questions about how they can get into it, how you can join it. And a lot of people, they've tried it before. They've always wanted to start archery, but they've never known where to start. And so, if anyone is interested in joining the club, you can contact us using the email link below, and give us an email. We'll let you know when those courses are available. We'll put you on the waiting list for it if there is one. And yeah, we'll hopefully see some of you along for those courses and as new members of the club. So thanks very much for joining me, Lex. It's been a pleasure to see you as always and shooting with you. I think we'll get a few more shots in, see how many of these arrows I can lose or break before the end of the day. Right, shall we? See you soon, guys. Right. So welcome back. I hope you enjoyed that look at the archery club. I was glad to go and actually get a chance not only to catch up with the guys there and have a chat to Lex, but actually have a shoot as well. That was quite nice. So we're going to go back to the Viking Age now, and as we're drawing on through the day's getting closer to an end. One of the most popular events in the arena has always been the Viking battle, and so Ringworm were kind enough to send us another video from their YouTube page, and it's from a battle reenactment that they did at a festival last year, back before this COVID stuff. And so to give you a little bit of a flavour of what would have been this year and what will most definitely be next year, even bigger and better we hope, here are Ringworm Viking Reenactment Group again showing off their skills, so enjoy. Amy, I miss doing shows.
I really miss doing shows as well. It's the highlight of our year, really, isn't it?
Yes, I mean Hertford Heritage Day has got to be, one of, if not my favourite event of the year. And I've said many times, it's the home turf one as well. You know?
Oh, definitely.
But yes, we thank Ringworm for everything they've sent through. We're really looking forward to getting back working with them again, reenacting with them again as well for my part. And we look forward to seeing them again next year. And we have our last Viking riddle for you guys, which Amy has here.
As a child I am small, but with food, water and sun I grow tall and proud. Only to be cut down in my prime, thrashed, grounded, pounded, but when I'm drowned and put to fire, I will rise once more. What am I?
So thank you very much for that, Amy. And once more, for the last time, if you have the answer to that or you think you do, please leave it in the comments below and we will let you know whether you're right or wrong later on. Now, next up, we have a very easy to shoot interview, as it is right here, and it is with our master behind the camera, Patrick, who has been very kind in making these videos with us and editing them as well and bringing them to you today. Now, Patrick has a really exciting project in the works that we're going to give you a little teaser of, as well as having a chat to him about what it is that he's making. So here we are. Right, so yes, this is Patrick, our cameraman. He's been standing that side of us.
We've now thrust him into the spotlight against his will.
So yes, Patrick's been doing a wonderful job, hasn't he? And I know we wanted to thank him, didn't we? So
yes, thank you so much for coming on board and helping us film all of this Heritage Day footage for us. We literally couldn't have done it without you, and it's going to look stunning because I've seen your work and I love it. So thank you.
Well, it's been an absolute pleasure working on Hertfordshire Heritage Day. I've actually recently moved to the area, so it's really nice to get involved with a lot of what's going on locally, and it's a shame that we have to be online, but for videographers like me, it's actually a really great opportunity. So thank you.
No worries, thank you, and the editing as well. He's been doing all the editing. If it was left to Amy and I, it would have been all shot on phones and very scratchy, and so.
And the editing would have taken a lot longer because it would have been me doing it.
So thank you so much. Now I met Patrick. Through a different project that he's filming locally and all over the place, a project based in a place that's as dear to my heart as Hertford is itself, Middle-earth. It's a Middle-earth based YouTube film called Fog on the Barrow Downs. And yes, would you like to tell us a little bit about that?
So yeah, Fog on the Barrow Downs is a project that I initially started on my own, and then gradually our group grew as it went on. It's inspired by Tolkien's Middle-earth. The story is set in Tolkien's Middle-earth, but it's a spin-off Tolkien story. So it's based very much on the things Tolkien was inspired by, folklore and history and the local myths. So that's how we're building the story, and it's been a very exciting project.
Yeah, it's been brilliant working with you on it as well. Obviously with this. The production halted a little bit over lockdown as well. I know we were both there, but it was a chance for working on the script, I suppose, wasn't it? And
yeah, it was a chance to work on the script and get a bit of the editing done.
It's expanded quite a lot, hasn't it?
It has. So we've had a lot of people come on board. We've had blacksmiths. We've done some stuff with horses, with drone photography. We've filmed in all sorts of exciting locations, Wales, north, right down south. And we're filming a lot locally here in Hertfordshire.
Fantastic. Now, I believe you've got something for us as well.
Yeah, I've got a little clip, a little sneak peek. So you think?
The Barrow Downs, a lonely place. Filled with the memories of old evil. Guard yourself against the evil of this land. Kingdoms will crumble. Princes fall. In Middle-earth all things will pass away. One thing alone I know lives on. The deeds of heroes will never die.
Fantastic, and I've really enjoyed working with you on this. As I said, and it's spawned a friendship, it's spawned sort of a partnership doing this, and you are very much so looking for help with this still, aren't you? And sort of people to get involved locally, especially.
Oh yes, we're always looking for actors, local filmmakers, animators, anyone that wants to get on board. We're always keen to hear from you, and you can find us through our Facebook page, which you'll find a link below, and our YouTube channel. Feel free to get in contact.
Well, thank you so much, Patrick. It's been great working with you, great having you here. Thank you for sitting down with us for a bit, stepping down from that camera, and having a chat to us about this. I'm really looking forward to getting back to filming, and getting the story told, and hopefully a few more afterwards as well.
Oh, absolutely, my pleasure. Absolutely, my pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you. And on that note as well, Patrick has been very kind to us to help us with a special treat, what we're going to sort of close today with as well. Because last time I was in Hertfordshire, we recorded a very special version of a story, didn't we, Amy?
We did. We recorded 2.5 nights here in Andy's parents' garden. Hope you enjoy, everyone.
Hi everyone, my name's Andy.
Hi everyone, I'm Amy and we're Tales from the Heart.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Something a little bit different, as we said. We're actually filming today with Patrick Robinson at Art and Animation, who's kindly come along and lent his camera skills, as well as Swish Camera, which hands down beats our phones and laptop, I think.
I'd say so.
So we're going to do a story today, not just any story, a fire story, which is something we've been dying to do since this whole lockdown thing began. We are going to tell you the story of 2.5 nights. Once upon a time, there was a village called Hertford. Now, Hertford was a very ordinary village, had houses and streets and shops and fields and churches with steeples, just like any ordinary village. What was not so ordinary was the dragon that took up residence there. It came from a clear blue sky, swooping down, burning the fields and crops as it went, and then hitting the orchard where pigs grubbed around for apples that had fallen from the trees. It snatched up a pig and flew off towards the church steeple, the highest one in Hertford. And there it settled, curled its wings about itself and set forth eating that pig that it had snatched up. All the while the townsfolk began to gather and stared up at the beast fearfully.
The mayor was pushed to the front of the crowd, since dealing with dragons was one of his mayoral duties, but this was the first time he'd ever had to carry it out, so here goes. Oh, esteemed dragon, what do you want from our humble village? The dragon stared down at the mayor and the townspeople with unblinking eyes. Making no reply, the mayor tried again. Oh, noble dragon, what do you want?
I heard you the first time, snarled the dragon, glaring down at them. My name is Sanguinarius, although I imagine that's too much of a mouthful for you, so you may call me Sanguine.
Noble Sanguine, what do you want from our humble village?
Oh, just the usual. Cows, pigs, horses, sheep. Not averse to a maiden or two either.
What can we give you so that you leave? We have gold, we have silver. We'll give you all of our wealth.
No, I think the usual would be good. Just the horses and pigs and cows and sheep and so on. That will do very nicely.
And before the mayor could say any more, the dragon closed its eyes and went to sleep behind its wings, with smoke coiling from each nostril as it did so, and the ground rumbled with each passing snore. Well, everyone, this is going to need a knight. We need to raise some money so that this knight can kill the dragon for us. So come on, we need to all empty our pockets for this fun. Come now, come on now. Anyone? Anyone? And so the mayor came home to face his wife, who was pacing up and down their home. A knight around here? You'll be lucky, Albert. Where are you going to find a decent knight around these parts?
Oh, I don't know, said the mayor, wringing his hands in worry. I suppose I'll advertise in the Mercury, spotted in Hertford, that sort of thing, you know.
Well, you're not going to hire a knight using our money, Albert. I'm telling you that now.
It won't be our money, dear. It will be the townsfolk's money.
Oh, well, thank goodness for that.
But it was 2 weeks before anyone answered the call of the mayor. And in that time, houses had been burnt, all the sheep, cows and pigs had been gobbled up, and the only horses that were left alive were hidden away in sheds and kitchens. But finally, there was a knock upon the door. Opening it, the mayor smiled to see an interesting-looking knight. "Ah, do come in, sir, do come in. Mind yourself there, watch the horse... watch the horse poo. Come in. And, your name is?"
Sir Percival. Sir Percival was a very tall, thin, very gangly-looking man with a pale face and very watery eyes. Few lines and wrinkles here and there. He wore a badly fitting suit of very ancient chainmail. He looked as if he hadn't seen battle for a number of years.
And you are a experienced knight?
Of course. I've won many a joust and tournament and such things and so forth, you know.
Right. And, have you faced many dragons?
No, I have no fear of dragons. For you see, I have a charmed sword. I, inherited it, shall we say, from the Black Knight of the Forest.
Ooh, the Black Knight of the Forest, and, yes,
The
very
sword's name is Durfasti, and it was forged many moons ago by fairy folk within the endless depths of time.
Ooh, wonderful. Yes, so you'll have no problem killing our dragon. Brilliant. So, tomorrow, do you think you could start and see off the beast?
Well, after we discuss my, this topic of my reward...
Of course, how about the gold and silver in our coffers? We've got a little bit left.
Is that all?
Yes, how about my daughter's hand in marriage?
Oh, yes, that'll do very nicely. Thank you so much. The mayor's wife slid into the room as the Percival was leaving. Albert.
Yes, dear?
You do know that we don't have a daughter, don't you?
Yes, we'll cross that bridge when it comes to it, darling.
I take it we'll be adopting then.
Something like that, yes.
Very good. And so, Sir Percival made his way through the streets of Hertford, looking for Sanguine the dragon. But he didn't have to look too hard, for there he was, in the butcher's shop, raiding the place of anything he fancied, from sausages to ribs to steaks, all that he could have desired as a dragon. There it was. Sir Percival drew his famous sword, Durfasti, pointed it straight at Sanguine, took a deep breath and said, "Begone, foul serpent!" Sanguine stared at Sir Percival mockingly and didn't flinch, didn't even move. Sir Percival tried again. Away, foul worm, or I shall set cold steel to your hideous flesh. At this, Sanguine, hating to be interrupted during a meal, physically turned his back upon the knight below. Feeling rather agitated at not being taken seriously, Sir Percival tried again. Begone, foul serpent, or I shall be forced to cut off your loathsome head with my very charmed sword. And then Sanguine looked straight at the knight, and he set forth a great gout of flame towards him, meaning that Sir Percival darted backwards, dropping his sword to the floor. It clattered to the ground. As Sir Percival got to his feet, he stared, looking at the floor, and found to his horror 100 metal fragments below. And he cried out in despair, "Do fasty!"
At that point, the dragon's gaze wandered up to the knight, and smiling, his eyes glittering wickedly, he laughed. "The Fasty, yes. Oh, I've heard that name before. The Black Knight of the Forest, yes. Interesting fellow he was when I met him. Crunchy, hard to get out of my teeth."
And with that, Sanguine's vast jaws opened wide. An orange flame cascaded out, hot on the heels of Sir Percival, who fled, and he felt the heat upon him as he ran away, and the townsfolk could only hear after that the sound of Sanguine's raucous laughter. The mayor's wife looked straight at her husband. "Well, Albert, I hope this next night you've got for us is better than the last one."
"Oh, I'm sure he will be, He comes very highly recommended, great reviews online. Yes, there he is now." And he heard them knocking upon the door, and he opened the door, and they, "Come in, yes, come in, mind the horse, he's only hungry." I'm sorry.
It's nothing, don't worry, only a bit of horseshoe on the foot, I'll recover. This knight who entered the space was Sir Agravain, a very handsome, very arrogant fellow. He had hair as golden as a lion's mane, very handsome features, and very shiny plate armour. "I hear you've got a spot of bother with the dragon. Well, don't you worry. I'm the man to save the day. Do you, like the outfit? It cost me 1,500 guineas.
"Oh, yes, it's very impressive, Sir Agravain. And have you got a magic sword as well?"
Sword? No. Sorry. Should I have?
No, I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure whatever you're waving about there will be just as good.
Yes. This is the latest thing in dragon slaying. This is a new axe. Huh. This will do the job just fine. Don't you worry, Mr. Mayor. I'll get the job done.
Wonderful. Off you go then. Well done.
Albert!
What?
1,500 guineas? We can't afford his prices.
Oh, we'll worry about that once the dragon's dead, dear. Please stop.
Why do I always have to think of everything? Oh. And so... Sir Agravain made his way down the cobbled pavement of Hertford. Now that the dragon had emptied the butcher's shop of all of its meat, he now moved on to the baker's. Donuts littered the streets, and fruitcake had been trampled into those cobbles, and Sir Agravain was very gingerly stepping around it, trying not to get any cakes and dough upon his shiny shoes and fancy armour. Oh dear. And there he addressed Sanguine, who was behind the counter of the baker's. "I say, dragon!"
"Meat!"
I'm sorry?
"Meat! I want meat. buns give me indigestion.
Well now, look here, dragon fellow, it's high time that you're off, you know, it's no place for you. Be gone, or I'll be forced to dispatch you using my very fancy dragon-slaying axe. And Sanguine belched. And there, out of his mouth, came inky black smoke, covering Sir Agravain from head to foot. He flapped his hands and arms around, coughing mildly. Oh, by Jove! And there he got ready to fight, but he stopped dead. He caught sight of his reflection in the baker's window. It was not a pretty sight, for now instead of glimmering armour that was golden, he now looked as though it had been smithed out of common coal. I can't work under these conditions. No, I won't do it. And Sir Agravain burst into tears and flounced off. The mayor's wife was wringing her hands in frustration. 1,500 guineas, Albert. I warned you, 1,500 guineas. That's just his cleaning bill. We still have no knight, and we still have a dragon. Now what are we going to do?
Oh, I don't know, said the mayor, wringing his hat in worry. We've run out of money, half the town's gone, we're doomed. And it was then that he heard a knock upon the door. The mayor's wife answered it, only to look down and find a small boy.
Excuse me, he said, and he barged his way past the mayor's wife straight into the parlour where the mayor was pacing up and down.
And just who are you to come barging in here? Who are you, boy?
I'm Sir Egg, and I am a knight at your service.
Sir Egg, a knight indeed.
Yes.
A knight. Half a knight, more like. And what is that you're wearing as armour? Is that...
I made it myself, out of sardine tins.
You could have washed it first. Phew. And is that a colander lid? Is that a dustbin lid?
Shield, actually. I couldn't get one made of metal, but I thought this plastic one would do just as well.
And what on earth is that in your hand? Is that a...
Oh, this? It's a mutton bone. It's very famous mutton bone.
Oh, it's okay, darling. It's a famous mutton bone. Did you hear that? It's a famous mutton bone. Fantastic. Well, all is well then. Get out. Stop wasting my time. Get out of here.
And Sir Egg skipped his way down the street unfazed, calling back to the mayor, "Don't you worry, Mr. Mayor. I'll get your dragon for you and I'll be back for my reward." Sir Egg made his way down the cobbled streets of Hertford, past the hollow, burnt-out shells of the butchers. And he came across the greengrocer's, where he could hear some loud, thundering grumbles from within. And he saw Sanguine behind the counter, and he ducked as 4 watermelons shot past his head, and an apple. He called out, "Hello, dragon!"
Lettuce and spinach. Lettuce and spinach, thundered the dragon. What kind of dinner is that?
Ugh, revolting, isn't it? I can't stand greens either, agreed Sir Egg.
And just who are you supposed to be?
Well, I am a knight.
More like half a knight. Still, I suppose you'll be tastier than lettuce and spinach. Come here, you little pipsqueak.
And with that, Sanguine came straight towards Sir Egg. Sanguine's vast jaws opened wide and clamped around Sir Egg. He dragged him outside into the street, and he soared way up into the sky, his teeth sinking into the sardine tin armour, not harming Sir Egg. He threw him around in the air like a rag doll before suddenly, not very high up off the ground, spitting Sir Egg back onto the ground.
Ah! That tastes disgusting. I hate fish. Are you trying to poison me, you little rat? Come here. I will fry you to a crisp. And with that, he sent forth a great burst of flame towards Sir Egg.
And it caught on Sir Egg's shield. And it sizzled and it crackled, and there was a horrible smell of burning plastic.
Phewie! What a disgusting smell! You will pay for that, taking... And he stopped there. For Egg had raised his mutton bone. And what, Sanguine spoke, approaching, his nostrils twitching, is that?
Oh, this? It's a mutton bone. It is Stevenage mutton.
Stevenage? Where's this Stevenage?
I'll tell you if you promise to leave this place and not come back.
Not a chance. I'm not finished with this town yet.
Oh, yes, you are, Sir Egg said firmly. There is nowhere left for you to burn up, nothing left for you to eat. All that's left is the fishmongers, and you hate fish.
Is that really all that's left?
Why, yes. Yes, it is, Sir Egg said. He missed out the fact that down hidden in an alleyway was Miss Honey's sweet shop. Here, try this mutton bone for size. And he threw the mutton towards Sanguine, who crunched it up in his mouth like a giant biscuit, and in 3 gulps it was gone.
Sanguine approved mightily of this, smacking his lips. Have you got any more? That was delicious.
No, sorry, you'll just have to go to Stevenage if you want more.
Now you see, I'm about done with this town. I've had enough. I've eaten everything there is to be eaten, apart from the fish, and I hate fish. And to truth be told, I don't even like maidens that much. They're too crunchy and they get stuck in your teeth and they whine too much. No, but I can't just up and leave at your say-so.
Why not?
Well, it's like this. And so then, Sanguine thudded his great bulk down next to the small knight and explained. If I were just to up sticks and leave, at your say-so, I would be the laughingstock of the community of monsters, beasts and other mythological terrors. No one would take me seriously anymore. If you were a real knight...
I am a real knight, actually, Sir Egg said indignantly. My name is a short for just like yours, Sanguine.
Short for what?
Oh, I knew this was coming. Here we go. My full name, which I don't reveal to just anyone, is Sir Egremont Lancelot Horatio de Gramercy. Ugh, thanks, Mum.
Sir Egremont... Say it again?
And Sir Egg repeated his rather long name again, and the dragon rolled it around on his tongue. He liked the sound of that.
Yes, that could work. Sanguine seemed quite pleased with this. That could work nicely. Say, in my version of the story, do you mind if I make you a 6-foot-tall master of arcane arts and wizardry?
No, not at all.
Wonderful, then. We have a deal. And he sent forth his claw on the end of his wing and shook the young knight's hand. Oh, this has got to be the first time I've made a deal with a human.
Oh, really?
Well, not really. I usually make a deal with them and then eat them anyway, but this will be a first. So, where's this Stevenage, then?
And so, Sanguine bent his long neck down to meet Sir Egg, and he whispered in the dragon's ear. And then Sanguine flapped his wings, and he took off into the sky, Sir Egg waving him off as he soared across the town. But then he braked suddenly, somersaulted and turned around. Sir Egg readied himself, thinking perhaps he'd changed his mind. But he needn't have worried, for the great burst of flame that came was headed straight for the fishmongers, burning it to a crisp, with giant bits of cod curling up and turning black on their slabs.
Sanguine turned back and flew off into the distance, roaring, "I can't stand fish!" Now, back later on at the mayor's house, the mayor paced back and forward, once more wringing his cap in his hands. "Now, boy, I don't think I should pay you. You didn't actually kill the dragon, did you? I know it's gone, but you didn't actually kill it."
Well, I got rid of it, didn't I? And anyway, I don't want any gold or silver. I've got no use for it at my age.
I just think you come into my house and... Wait, sorry, what? You don't want any?
No gold and silver for me. Just all the sweets I can eat forever will do just fine. Thank you very much.
Now, this was music to the mayor's ears. Not only did he have a town to rebuild, loans to pay back to the townsfolk with interest, and a horse that just would not get out of his kitchen. It was also a relief to the owner of the sweet shop, Miss Honey, who was so glad that Sir Egg had saved her shop from being caramelised in dragon fire. She awarded Egg all the sweets he could eat for the rest of his life. And as for Sanguine, well, he flew over to Stevenage and rampaged and raided to his heart's content upon that unhappy town. And now is a good time to avoid Stevenage. And if you have to go there, don't forget your sardine tin armour and your mutton bone. And that, my friends, is the story of 2.5 Nights. Thank you very much. That was fantastic. Thank you so much, Patrick, for editing that, for organising that with us. Yeah, it was brilliant, wasn't it, Amy?
Yes, it was fantastic to work alongside Patrick for that, and it really made us, we really enjoyed doing it in that format. As much as it's not the same doing it live, you know, it was a really great piece to do, and yeah, you made it a lot of fun on set. So,
so we thought we were going to go through this year without doing any fire breathing and that much performing, but thankfully we've been doing, for our sanity if nothing else, we've been doing a lot of online storytelling, and we did, as Amy mentioned, a few videos of Patrick before, and this one we were really keen on, but we knew we had to save it for today. So yes, it was great to finally see that come out, and yeah, we've been doing a little bit of work just to put it out there at Tales from the Heart. We are running some story walks, aren't we?
Yes, we are indeed, and we've still got 2 more showings of our Heritage Story Walk to go. They are happening on the Monday and Tuesday, so the 21st and 22nd. They are happening at 6 o'clock. So if you're able to get down there for that, please do book ahead at the Hertford Tourist information. You can find all of our information about how we've made the walks COVID secure, as well as a bit more accessible as well. And it would be great to see you there if you could make it.
And yeah, it would be fantastic to see you there, and we will be doing more, hopefully maybe over Christmas afterwards, as things sort of get back to normality as we get past this pandemic. Yeah, hopefully we'll see more things opening,
Absolutely.
more walks happening, and a fantastic Hertford Heritage Day next year. But that sadly is it for us today. We've reached the end.
We have.
But it has been brilliant to work alongside both of you, Amy and Patrick. Thank you so much. This has been a real fun project to do. And we've got some other thank yous to make as well.
We do. Thank you to everyone at Hertford Castle for helping us to put this all together and put it out there, and for hosting Heritage Day every year for us and having us on board as well. We're really grateful to be involved in our local history event every year, so thank you for that. And thank you so much to all of our contributors who featured in our video today. Heritage Day today, and always just couldn't happen without you all. And thank you all for watching, and we look forward to seeing you all live next year back in the castle grounds where we all belong for next year's Heritage Day. Hope you're all staying safe out there. Take care, everyone, and goodbye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.